Hello, my beautiful movie people. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. My name is Chris. Lots happened since the last Side Flick, so let's dive into some of the news we're going to discuss here today. Some of the stuff we're going to be talking about here today is we have an update with Warner Bros. And Discovery. And yes, that does include some Ezra Miller talk because the person is just unescapable. We have a brand new Karate Kid reboot movie in the works with like an insane premise. Little sad update on Scream 6. Really that along with so much more. So many of you movie fans to give me your opinions down below with everything we discuss here today. As a quick shameless plug, since I haven't mentioned it in a while, I am an affiliate with G Fuel. If you're craving a great sugar-free energy drink, I highly recommend G Fuel using code 3CFilms to get yourself a discount when you're checking out. By doing this, it really helps out my channel, and that would mean a lot. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into our first movie news topic here, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Paramount came out this week and let us know the official release date for Sonic the Hedgehog, making it basically a Christmas release date movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 will now be coming out December 20th of 2024, the exact same day Avatar 3 comes out. Let that settle in. Not Avatar 2 that we're set to get this year, Avatar 3. Which blue fool are you going to be watching in December? Probably both of them, right? Now, just because it's coming out in the Christmas season does not make it a Christmas movie, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I think it'd be kind of cool. Either way, I'm insanely excited for this movie because Shadow the Hedgehog versus Sonic the Hedgehog, that battle is going to be epic and glorious. I still can't believe how far we've come with this franchise, from everyone making fun of it, the redesign process, then everyone thinking the movie was going to be crap, and then that second film, I found it to be a major improvement, really just showcasing the fun you could have in the Sonic world, and I think they're going to embrace that even further in the third film. Still up in the air whether Jim Carrey will return as Robotnik or not, but I think with a villain like Shadow the Hedgehog, I wouldn't mind, and hey, throw in Metal Sonic in there, please. How are you guys feeling on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out Christmas of 2024? Bringing it here to talk about some Scream 6, man, this makes me a little sad, but I guess it's just something we gotta face here. We have here Neve Campbell, who was recently doing another interview talking about why she rejected not coming back for Scream 6. Now, some of you already know she basically decided not to come back because the pay they were offering her for the role in Scream 6 she thought was just too little and insulting an amount for someone who used to be the main protagonist and was carrying this film franchise along for so many films. She continued that statement by saying here the other day, "I honestly don't believe that if I were a man and had done 5 installments of a huge blockbuster franchise over 25 years, that the number that I was offered would be the number that would be offered to a man, and in my soul I just couldn't do that. I couldn't walk on set feeling that, feeling undervalued and feeling the unfairness or lack of fairness around that." And the reason I bring this up again is because before these comments that she just recently made, there were scoopers and insiders saying, nah, she made a secret deal, she's still going to be showing up in the movie, it'll be a small cameo role that'll tease her having a much bigger part of Scream 7. And a lot of these sources were pretty reliable to me and have gotten stuff right in the Scream world, so I was like, oh, she's coming back. I don't care what she says, but to be coming out again and just reiterating further on these statements, it feels like she's definitely not coming back then. Of course, everything can change. Even Neve Campbell in this same interview says she's not done with the Scream franchise. It really is just a matter of pay and respecting what she's brought to the series. So if they do sign her a check that meets her value to the series, she'll definitely come back. But it just kind of sucks the higher up studio members decided not to do that, because even Neve here mentions she loves the directors of this new series and respects them. So anyone giving hate to the new directors, it's not their fault. They're not the ones cashing the checks. Which is all the more reason I'm not one of those Scream fans right now trying to boycott this movie or saying that it's terrible, because there's a lot of great people involved that are just trying to make a good Scream movie with the small budget they have, which again, I think it's that small budget why they just couldn't afford giving some money to Neve Campbell. So to my Scream peeps out there, we just have to go into the new movie knowing Neve Campbell's not going to be in it and enjoy it for what it is, and I'm still really excited. It's a brand new saga with brand new lead characters, and in my mind I tell myself, well, at least she's happy forever after with her family and kids. She doesn't need to be tortured by Ghostface again. But let me tell you, if they somehow get her back for Scream 7, oh, I'm gonna be jumping up and down. Torture her life, Ghostface. Throwing it off to you, Scream fans. Does this put the nail in the coffin? Neve Campbell is not returning? Or are you really thinking this is another Andrew Garfield situation? I don't think it is, though. Moving on here, talking about something that kind of blew my mind and I was not expecting to hear about. We have here an update on a new Karate Kid reboot. Now, the source is coming from Murphy's Multiverse, who had the exclusive on this, and they're a source I trust and have seen them get a lot of stuff right, but like any source out there, they've gotten the occasional thing wrong here and there. Still, in this article, they claim to have gotten insider information on a new Karate Kid movie that Sony is developing. And in my mind, I was like, okay, another Karate Kid movie. We've seen this formula done over and over. How boring. Then I read what the plot was they had in mind, and my mind is blown. Now, in this article, they do have a lengthy description of the plot, but just so I don't bore you reading paragraph after paragraph, the Cliff Notes version of it here says the movie will follow a 17-year-old kid, preferably someone who's a Chinese actor, who moves from Beijing all the way to Brooklyn, New York. So far, so good. We know where this is headed in the Karate Kid franchise, but then this is where the movie kind of subverts expectations here, because the kid is already an expert in Kung Fu, and basically instead, this 17-year-old kid will be the Mr. Miyagi to an older person. They have it here that once he comes to Brooklyn, New York, he makes friends with a girl and his father, and the father is the owner of a pizza shop, and I'm assuming is getting bullied or something is happening in his life, rough streets of New York, and the kid is going to be teaching the adult Kung Fu, flipping the situation from what we typically know with the Karate Kid. It should also be worth noting that this has nothing to do with Cobra Kai. This is going to be its separate own thing, which I know that'll be disappointing to some people because Cobra Kai is freaking awesome on Netflix. But I gotta tell you, I really did not care to see another Karate Kid reboot movie, especially with how much I'm loving Cobra Kai on Netflix. But with this premise, it's different and refreshing enough that I'm like, yo, I'm kind of down to see that. That is different. That is a new take. It's not just repeating the same formula we've seen over and over, and I thought the Jaden Smith movie already repeated that formula really well. I'm one of the few people who like that movie. So you know what? If this actually comes through and Sony pushes it forward to actually get made, because right now it's just in the development stages, it hasn't been greenlit, I'm actually down to watch this and see how it goes. I throw it off to you Karate Kid fans. You hear this premise for the new movie. If it gets made, will you be happy with this, or are you thinking no thank you? All right, moving on here, talking about all these updates with Warner Bros. And Discovery. Let's start off with the elephant in the room, or should I say the red menace in the room, Ezra Miller. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, earlier in the year, Ezra Miller was just popping a lot up in the news. They were just constantly being arrested, or reports were coming out that they were just being a menace in Hawaii. Then there were reports and accusations of Ezra Miller grooming children, with the parents of those children going as far as to putting restraining orders. And it got to a point, guys, where it was just so vile, crude, and no changes were happening that it almost felt pointless to make videos on again. So that's why, like, the last 3 Ezra Miller situations, I didn't even bother making a video on, because one, Warner Brothers just refuses to talk about the situation, address it, or do anything because they're worried about their precious $300 million movie. And 2, because my thoughts have not changed. Ezra Miller will no longer be the Flash after this movie, but also explaining to you guys why they can't reshoot it or cancel the movie because it just costs too much. And even now with this recent Ezra Miller report, it is like as definitive as they come. A felony charge for burglary, where in the article they say they have video evidence of it, and that stack of Ezra Miller crimes just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and still no changes. And then what just kind of blows my mind is you have the producers of the Flash movie mentioning all's good in Flashland, when I'm like, do you have CNN? Do you have the news, lady? And even here in a recent article, they mention this summer they did reshoots on the Flash for some new scenes. All around the same time, all these reports of Ezra Miller crimes were coming. I'm just like, can you imagine that as Warner Brothers? Calling up Ezra Miller and going, hey, I know you're on the run from the police right now, but we really need to fix this shot in the Flash. Can you get over here, lickety split? It's just such a tiring, conflicting subject, because I'm going to watch the Flash and I'm still excited for it for other reasons in the film. I think Andy Muschietti is a great director. I want to see what he does with the movie. I want to see Michael Keaton in there as Batman, Sasha Calle as Supergirl, Ben Affleck's Batman having a couple action scenes in there. So many wonderful things I want to see in there, and it sucks it's all being tainted by Ezra Miller. So yeah, you guys wanted me to talk about it. That's my thoughts on the situation as of right now. Next week or next month, when a new Ezra Miller situation happens and you don't see a video pop up, just rewatch this, okay? But putting that stuff aside, we do have more updates with Warner Bros. And Discovery and what's going on behind the scenes, and it's just not looking pretty, man. Last we heard from David Zaslav when the Warner Bros. Was having their Investor Day meeting. He seemed really strong and adamant about changing the DCEU, wanting to make that a respectable brand. And in a new article by The Hollywood Reporter, man, they basically have it here that DC themselves and everyone working inside there have no idea what he's talking about. For one, they mentioned here in the article, whenever David Zaslav was talking about his 10-year plan, people inside DC in charge of currently making the movies were like, the remarks were not well received inside DC. According to multiple insiders who use the same word to describe members of the film division, pissed, and DC's film president Walter Hamada nearly exited after learning of the shelving of Batgirl before being convinced to stay on at least until October 21st for the release of Black Adam. The Hollywood Reporter article even goes on to further mention that before Discovery came in and was going to do this rehaul of the DC universe, they were planning to do a Crisis on Infinite Earth event. That's where I was telling you guys, basically DC's version of Secret Wars, where it was going to involve multiple Earths, the multiverse coming together, clashing, which kind of should let you know DC did have a plan of sorts, whether it was going to be executed well or not. Like, they weren't just going to have Michael Keaton Batman be the new Batman of the DCU permanently. That was all set up and planned to be an Infinite Earth situation where Ben Affleck was probably going to be part of that movie and fight Michael Keaton's Batman or something. All really so that movie could end and they could reboot the DCU after doing a big universe event. They also even mentioned that DC had plans for the Secret Six to be a villain in the DCEU, which is just basically a villain group made up of random characters like sometimes Bane, Deadshot. Basically all this to say, I'm just starting to see the cracks and maybe the BS lies David Zaslav was telling us, because I think it's one thing to get on and tell people we're going to have a 10-year plan, we're going to do this, we're going to give the people what they want, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, you gotta watch it. And then on the other side of that, you have the people who are actually making the DC movies going, when the hell did he tell us this? I'm hoping there's change and something will happen. I think we just won't see these repercussions come until after the Flash movie. I think that right now is like their #1 priority, to figure out, what do we do after this movie releases? How do we change the ending? What do we fix in our universe? This DC and Warner Bros. Stuff only gets more interesting by the day. I throw it off to you guys. You hear some of these updates going on. Does this make you scared then? Do you still think there is some sort of plan? Would love to know from you guys. But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Code 3CFilms at gfuel.com if you have the chance. But as always, my name's Chris. Take care.